Hello and a very good evening. My name is Shreya and I welcome you to the dareact conversation series powered by the Grey Matter. Our guest today is Arushi Khandelwal. She is joining us live from Netherlands, but before we invite her, let me tell you a little bit about Arushi. Arushi graduated from GLC in 2015 and she recently completed her MBA from Rotterdam School of Management. She did her MBA in Sustainability and Finance. So let's invite Arushi. Hello, Arushi. Welcome
Hi,
to Dare.
Shreya. Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. This is it's an honor, if I may say.
No, and it's an honor for us because we know it may be Friday evening in India and we're all ready to, unwind. For you, it's still work day and you're speaking to us out of office. So thank you so much. It's very, very sweet of you to join us live.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, so Arushi, let's get into your journey. Tell us what inspired you to study law.
Well, let me take you a little down the memory lane for this. Between the age of about 5 and 9, as a family, we were living in South Africa, and I had a lot of exposure to nature, jungles, safaris, beaches, mountains, and it was absolutely beautiful. And after uh, this this time when I shifted back to India, there was a stark difference, right? I saw a lot of pollution, danger to wildlife, and it was then that I started joining many organizations as a volunteer to preserve wildlife, to clean up riversides. And I knew by the end of it that I need to do something to protect the environment. And this is what prompted me to take up law so that I could probably become an environmental lawyer.
Wow, what a noble cause. Just off track, I know why I wanted to do law was because I didn't want to do anything else, which was 3 years, and law just kind of gave you a full degree, like a 5 year degree. But I'm so glad to know that that clarity was there, straight right from the beginning. So thank you for sharing that. So you did your college from GLC. Tell us, how would you describe your 5 years at GLC?
So when I started GLC, the first 2 years, it wasn't really law, it was pre-law. And that gave me a lot of time and flexibility to explore a lot of different activities, participate in the activities of Rotaract Club of the college, do social work within college and inside and outside. And even go camping, do other wildlife and adventure activities. But when law started properly in the third year, I realized that I didn't enjoy a lot of the subjects. I did a litigation internship, and I realized, okay, this is also not my cup of tea. So being an environmental lawyer kind of went out of the window there. Then I even interned with law firms, and I realized that I did not enjoy that too. Um, and then I also got a chance, luckily, to intern as an in-house lawyer with the Tata Group, and I think that is something that I comparatively enjoyed. So I thought, okay, it's something probably that I could do post law. However, the 5 years, even though in the end they left me very confused on what do I do later, how do I get environment and law together if it's not being an environmental lawyer, I did get a chance to really explore what I like a lot, understand myself a lot more. So I would say overall it was quite a beautiful journey.
Fantastic. So good to know that. Also, what I remember of you, whatever little I remember of you, is you always had that, the chirpiness and the glow and the fun in you, despite the confusion that was probably going on in your head. And you were in fact, the person who was the most inspiring and always motivated other people. That's one take. That's one memory that I have of you because I don't know, you were always, somebody who would be like, it's okay, you've not figured it out. But I didn't know in your head you were as confused as all of us. So that clarity has come today. But
No,
yeah.
it's okay. It's as long as you just keep going. That you keep going with the flow, and you will figure something out. I think that was my biggest takeaway, basically.
Absolutely. So after graduation, you moved to a in-house legal role with Aditya Birla Group, and
Mhm.
you were there for about 5 years.
Mhm.
Tell us. what roles and opportunities came your way in that stint with Aditya Birla?
Sure. So I started as a management trainee in the corporate legal cell of the Aditya Birla Group, and this training program was for about a year. During this year, I did the regular corporate work such as contracts, negotiations, mergers and acquisitions, and just basic research and even learning on the job. This my that spark, or that I would say fire to do something for the environment had just grown stronger year by year for me. And even though it was nice, but I still couldn't find a match, or I couldn't find a place for myself where I was truly dedicated to what I was doing. uh, so after my management traineeship was done, I was shifted to a business which was called Grasim Industries. They're basically into manufacturing of textiles and chemicals, and I joined the smaller legal team there. And that is when I was introduced to how compliance works. How do you integrate compliance programs? And there I started visiting factories, taking part in the sustainability initiatives, mainly doing ESG audits, and figuring out plans on how the current levels of compliance or whatever standards we had could be improved. And this is also where I got exposure to a lot of international standards on environment and social aspects. And after spending about 1.5 years in the Grasim business, I was then shifted to the solar business of the group as the legal head. And that is where I was introduced further into sustainability. There were certain mergers and acquisitions that were taking place where European development financial institutions were, looking to invest in us, and that further introduced me to sustainable finance. Even in fact, development finance institutions are kind of banks that only fund in developing economies on projects that are mainly sustainable. Okay. And this gave me insight into, okay, what it is that European companies or investors look into just beyond basic compliance levels. So I think with this overall knowledge that I'd gotten in Grasim, in the renewables business, it really gave me the confidence to understand, okay, what is it that I'm passionate about? What is it that I like to do? And what can I really do going ahead beyond law? And that is what basically prompted me to do the MBA.
Fantastic. So, you spoke about sustainability, you spoke about ESG. It'll be nice if you, go a little deeper on what ESG means. Why is it important? And also give a few examples of what is sustainability in business.
Right. So ESG is basically environment, social, and governance criteria that helps to measure how sustainable is your business. Now, just to give an example, E would involve water, waste, your greenhouse gas emissions. So each of these would have performance indicators, KPIs, that help you measure, okay, what are your water discharge levels? What are your greenhouse gas emissions? And that helps you understand, okay, is it within the regulations, or is it within the acceptable standards? And that's how you further recognize whether your business is really sustainable or not. In the social aspect, it could be what is your health and safety level? What is diversity in your organization, for example? And governance could be related to compliance, anti-corruption, and other policies, basically.
Oh, very interesting. And since you've seen the legal side and the business side now, why is it important for lawyers to know more about ESG? How does it benefit them?
Okay. Sorry, I realized that I also forgot to answer one of your questions to give an example of business sustainability. And I'm going to give you an example which is also going to help you answer this question. When I was working in the renewables business, okay, we were setting up solar power plants. Now you would think that yes, because this is clean energy, this is sustainable in itself, right? So you don't really need to concentrate on anything else. But that is not how it works. Sustainability means that you need to concentrate on all of the factors. So if you're purchasing land to set up these solar power plants, have you taken care of who you're buying it from? Are farmers being paid a fair rate for the land? Where are you deriving your materials from? How are you disposing it off? So there are multiple things that you would need to take care of when you are talking about sustainability. How lawyers come into play in this is definitely, first of all, understanding the regulations that are applicable. I could explain to you at a later stage of the regulations that have come into the EU, but also just looking at the compliance levels, right? Looking at what policies are in place, what standards are not being met, or where it is being met. Putting all the conditions, subsequents, or precedents into the contracts, because that is the most important for when any investor is investing, right? And they want to ensure that this is a sustainable investment. They want to reach certain sustainability goals. It is extremely important to make sure that all these aspects come into the contract. So for lawyers, these are the most important aspects when it comes to sustainability.
Very insightful. Thank you for sharing that. So after Aditya Birla is when you decided to pursue your MBA.
Yeah.
Tell us, how did you narrow down on Rotterdam School of Management as your MBA school choice?
So I knew that I wanted to do an MBA in relation to sustainability. And there were very few MBA courses that were offering this combination or core courses related to sustainability. And Rotterdam School of Management was one of them. I had met them at a career fair back in Mumbai, and and when I met them and I understood what the course would be like, what are the prospects, and I also, of course, knew about Netherlands as a country, how sustainable it is, the number of companies that are here, and Europe as a whole, of the activities that they are doing to make sure that they're at the forefront of sustainability and really reaching a lot of their targets. It just seemed like the perfect place. It was a complete match.
Fantastic. So, which led you to moving ultimately to another country, which is Netherlands, and starting your MBA student life all over again. And very soon, the world was hit by the pandemic. And I do understand, when we go to another country, especially when it's MBA experience, you go with a lot of aspirations and a lot of looking forward to a lot of opportunities. And a pandemic can be a massive hindrance to that 1 year, 2 year, you give to your MBA education. Tell us, how was 2020 for you?
When I arrived in Netherlands, it was January 2020. It was cold, windy, rainy, and very depressing. Yeah. But soon, when we were expecting, obviously, the spring to come and it would be happier times, that's when the pandemic hits. And the last thing you want to do when you've spent all that money on an MBA is to have online classes, not going on study trips, not having on the job projects that you can. And not even meeting your classmates and your professors who you can learn so much from, or even meeting alumni, because there's so many events that are actually planned for the entire year, and then suddenly that just goes down the drain. But it took a while to understand what is really happening, getting used to it. But I also knew that I have to take full advantage of this year, because I'm not going to get this year again, right? And that's where I just adapted to the change. I got this internship opportunity at Royal DSM, which is one of the most sustainable companies in the chemical industry. And I got a chance to work with their corporate sustainability team, and that really introduced me to the world of sustainability in Europe. And it was quite a life-changing experience, honestly.
Wow, you made sure that it didn't go waste at all. Very well you're spent.
I just got lucky there, I think. Yeah.
No, and it's great, right? Because it is very easy to fall into the, oh my God, I wasted my year. Oh my God, I've done this and all of that.
Or,
But it's
or actually, because you constantly feel, oh, what a waste of a year. I wish I hadn't done my MBA. Or am I doing the right thing? And a lot of us were questioning that. It got quite depressing.
I can understand. And in that cold weather, even worse. Well, thank you for sharing that. So you now work with one of the leading real estate investment companies company called Patrizia, which does sustainable real investments across the Europe market. Tell us a little bit about what the company does and what is your role now as a senior associate in their sustainable business department.
Mhm. So the fund originally started out just as a regular real estate fund. They invest into commercial, residential spaces. Um, Now they have come up with a new fund within the larger Patrizia group, which is dedicated solely to sustainable communities. Now they realize that there is a huge population that is isolated, that is lonely, and also there is a lot of need to invest into sustainable real estate, because real estate actually contributes to about 40% of the greenhouse gas emissions that exist. So that is huge, right? And that is obviously across the supply chain. So one of their main aims became to invest into sustainable communities, into elderly homes, hospitals, affordable buildings, where people who can basically start living in communities where they will have access to either some kind of public amenities that will also be built around it, and at the same time these buildings will be very environmentally efficient. So, putting all of these factors together, this is what they will be investing in now within the European market. And I've come on board basically to help them with these, with assessing the environment and the social aspects of it.
Have you also hired a law firm or a legal team yet? You'll be seeing the other side of the table. That'll be so nice.
Yes, I'm waiting to do that.
Fantastic. I do. So you clearly have a great understanding when it comes to sustainability in business. It'll be great if you could, tell us how different or similar are the policies or legislations in Europe and in the India market, and what we can learn probably from the West that they are doing, much better, or they're far ahead in when it comes to sustainability.
Europe in 2019 signed the Green Deal, which basically their aim from that is to ensure that they become climate neutral by 2050. So that means net zero, or to explain it in easier words, making sure that whatever emissions are let out, if not more, the same amount is taken off the environment. So that basically means no extra addition of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And to achieve this, they have come out with 3 different regulations. First, being the Sustainable Financial Disclosure Regulation. This is... Sorry, but okay, just to make it easy, they're telling the investors that give us all the data that, basically explaining how are you making sure your investments are sustainable, or how you're taking care of your investments and not doing any negative harm to the environment and social aspects. So that is pointing to investors. The second regulation that they've come up with is the non-financial disclosure regulation, which forces big companies, listed companies, to declare all their data on ESG aspects, basically in their reporting, as part of their reporting. And the third one is, and which is the biggest one, is EU taxonomy, where they have laid down a detailed criteria on what business activities are actually green or not green. So they've gone very, very much into detail of under each industry, laying down technical standards to really determine, okay, are these activities really sustainable or not? So it is easier that way for investors or companies to understand where they are in terms of sustainability. Now, when I look at Indian aspects or Indian legislations that have come in, SEBI recently came out with the sustainability, there's a sustainability, business responsibility and sustainability reporting, which is only for the top 1,000 listed companies by market capital, right? And so it's of course to a very limited number of companies, but as long as what the main aim is, again, to make sure that they disclose on various environment, social, and governance aspects. So, which is pretty similar to what is happening in Europe, but their target for now is very limited. The second thing that India is doing currently is, together with other countries such as China and surrounding countries, coming up with their own taxonomy to determine what is sustainable. But I think we're still far from that. And the difference that it will have from the European side is that some certain coal-based activities will still be probably considered as sustainable because it will be clean coal under the taxonomy that might come in India. But Europe does not accept that at all. So this is one of the biggest discrepancies or differences that is there currently. But overall, to give you an idea, we're catching up on the other side of the world. But yeah, Europe is definitely far ahead, and it will have its effects on India. And if I may just add the EU taxonomy specifically, I see it affecting a lot of the businesses and companies in India going ahead because of course, supply chain and operations of these companies in the country.
Yeah. And it's so important, right? A couple of years ago, words like green entrepreneurs, sustainable businesses, green businesses were just buzzwords. And now they've become so important. It's like need of the hour. And I think slowly, with government putting these regulations formally into place, it's very important that everybody adheres to it. So I think, and with Europe doing such fantastic work, it's going to have a ripple effect sooner or later in the entire world. So that's brilliant. But thank you for explaining that. I didn't know how different industries and different verticals are all getting benefited and affected at the same time with the changing regulations. So Arushi, if you were to say something to your younger self, the 17-year-old who entered GLC, what would you say to her now? As
there is I would say a thought or something that was shared with us right when we started the MBA. And it went like, get out of your comfort zone, because that is where the magic happens. And this stayed with me during the course of the MBA, and it really helped me to go beyond whatever I was doing and really take risks, or reach out, be out there. And this is something that I would really want to tell my younger self, that don't be fearful in reaching out to people, or just going on stage and talking or doing different things, because you never know what it might lead to.
Joining dareact, coming on Instagram live and doing your first dareact. So of course,
Yeah.
and it's so, and I can clearly see the change. You've really come far, and you're not shying away from doing what's uncomfortable. So that's brilliant as well. Do you have, okay, so that was to your younger self. Would you also have anything you would like to say to a law student who may be in their 5-year, 3-year course and utterly confused and, not sure about what they should do when they know deep inside that they're not happy with the practice of law?
Yeah, I've actually spoken to a few of such students already. And what I usually tell them is that, okay, you're studying law, just continue studying it. Don't stop it for any reason. But what you need to do simultaneously is keep exploring different opportunities that are there. Or, look at startups. Go on LinkedIn, look at what different people are doing, look at different companies, see what interests you, and reach out to them. If you even reach out to 50 people, there is a good chance that 25 of them reply to you. Send personalized emails, send personalized LinkedIn invites, and tell them why you want to talk to them. And these are the activities that will help you get to know so much more about what's out there in the world and what fits your interests or your passion. And you could actually land up a job somewhere. So just don't be afraid in exploring more and reaching out.
Absolutely. I want to share a little secret, which is a secret between me and Arushi. But when Arushi finished her MBA, I told her, come on dareact, and because it's a great combo, law and MBA. And Arushi was very, very clear that until I get a job in this pandemic time, until I get a job, I'm not going to come on dareact. So it's indeed a proud moment that she's here working in Netherlands for a very well-known investment corporation, and doing this with us. So clearly leading by example, Arushi, and so proud to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us live, and it's been extremely informative. And I think these topics are important, especially I think these topics must be discussed even at law school level, because it just shows the scope is expanding even when it comes to law, right? I don't remember, except that little book on environmental law, we had anything beyond to study. So yeah,
Exactly.
very important, and thank you so much for talking about it and explaining it so seamlessly to us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Have a fantastic work day and a brilliant weekend ahead. We'll see
Thank
you.
you, Shreya. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.